Hello and welcome back. Right now I'm preparing the plants for the 60 centimeter planted aquarium. If you take a look closely at this corner, you can see there's an empty spot and we're going to plant that area right now. And I'm gonna move some plants around, and in the back there's also an empty space, so we're gonna be planting this tank today. And the Monte Carlo, if you look closely, has been spreading quite well. There's quite a bit of algae in this tank because I added a lot of soil, so I'm gonna do a big water change as well. As you can see, the filter is not running right now. But right now what I'm doing is right here on my messy desk, I'm preparing the plants for that tank. So to be able to plant easily in this tank, I've got to lower the water level. I've turned the heaters off, so I'm gonna get started and we're gonna time-lapse this. Alright, so the water is mostly out. Now I've got to put in some soil because it is a little bit thin over here. So I'm going to layer it up with a little bit of soil and then I'm going to start planting. Once anubias get their roots into the soil, they'll grow like crazy. I can't even pull this thing out. I have to rip it apart to get it out. It's a little bit sad, but I don't have a choice. Look at those roots. Can you guys see that? That's amazing. Wow, there's still some Vallisneria leaves in here. Now we'll get the soil nice and moist. If you guys know me, I hate planting in dry soil. And I'm going to start planting. So the first plant up top, I've got Rotala Nanjenshen. And then down below, I've got Rotala rotundifolia. And these two plants are gonna be right here. Here is a top view of what I just planted. I'm not so sure how well you can see that, but right there is Rotala rotundifolia, and then over on this side is Rotala Nanjenshen. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move some of this areocolon, a portion of this, over to this side because I want to make more room for planting over here. And you might be able to see that my Ludwigia Super Red is still in there. I didn't manage to get more of that, so I'm just going to leave those in here and maybe we can have a little splash of bright red coming out from those Ludwigias. But unfortunate, I wasn't able to find any more of those Ludwigias, so we're just gonna leave it like that. Look at the root structures of these areocolons. They've grown so much since I put them in 2 months ago. And I've got to add a little bit more soil in the back because I've just pulled out some of the bottom fertilizing layer substrate. As you can see right there, those white little things. And yeah, the glass is also a mess. Look at that. Alright. Alright, and here are the next two plants that I'll be planting in. Up top, I've got Rotala rotundifolia ceylon, which is similar to the Rotala rotundifolia I just planted in, but a little bit different. I'll talk more in detail about them later on. And then down below, this grass-like plant is Cyperus helferi, and I'm excited to see how this one grows as I've never tried it out before. So I'm going to be planting that in the open spot right there. This right here is Lagenandra meeboldii green, and I've never tried this plant before, so I'm excited to try it out. And it's going in this corner. And like I did on this side, I added a little bit more soil over there because I think Lagenandra is a pretty heavy root feeder. It's similar to cryptocoryns, so yeah, I just added a bit more soil. So here it is, Lagenandra meeboldii green. And this is a really cool plant. I'm excited to watch it grow. And also, a good thing about it is it doesn't spread like crazy, like crypts, like how crypts do. So this one stays in one place and it keeps growing in that spot. And it might spread a tiny little bit, but not as much as cryptocoryns. And there it is, all the plants have now been planted in, and I'm excited to watch them grow. Check out how red this pinnatifida is looking. That looks amazing. Alright, now let's fill this tank up. Alright, so I've just filled the tank up, as you can see. What I'm doing now is I'm cleaning the glass because there's quite a bit of algae buildup on the glass, so I'm cleaning that up, and I'm going to clean the filter pipes as well. They aren't that dirty because I cleaned them just about 2 weeks ago, so I don't know. I'll probably clean the hoses and probably also just lightly clean the lily pipes. I just trimmed off a bunch of this hygrophila pinnatifida. Look how amazing that looks, but I probably have to throw this out, or maybe I can keep some and try to grow it emersed, kind of like this. This is amazing. Look how beautiful this has turned into. It's grown so tall, it's almost reaching the Chihiros RGB light. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this once this gets too tall. But yeah, this one, I don't think I can sell it as well because there's a bunch of algae on it, and if I sell it, I can only sell it in Japan, and I don't know who's gonna buy this. I don't know how the selling system works here, so yeah, probably just dump a few and keep a few. The tank is complete. Now we just have to wait for it to grow, and I'm really excited and looking forward to that. Check out this slope that we created today. The sad thing is that once all these plants start growing in, we won't be able to look in from here anymore because these stem plants are going to grow quite tall, and I'll probably have them growing immersed. That'll be pretty cool to watch. Right now, you can see I'm putting some oxygen in the tank. I just lifted the lily pipes a little bit because once the CO2 goes off, which it went off now, plants take in oxygen instead of CO2. So the lights are going to turn off very, very soon. They're set on a timer. And yeah, at night, when the plants are sleeping, they take in oxygen, and when there's light, they'll take in CO2. It's not really necessary to aerate your planted tanks once the lights go off, but I've been doing it since I set this tank up, and it's been working quite well. Also, I think it helps remove the surface scum, the surface oil that builds up over time if you agitate the surface of the water. So instead of having skimmers that take up space and will sometimes look kind of unsightly, in my opinion, maybe some people like having skimmers in the tanks, but I personally don't really like that, so I think this is a better option than having a skimmer. Also, I've heard that the tanks at the ADA gallery, Aqua Design Amano gallery, all their tanks, they aerate them once the lights go off, so that's another reason why I'm doing it, because it works for them, so I want to try it, and it's been working pretty well, so that's why I'm doing it. It's now the next day. The lights have just turned back on. I put the lily pipes back down because now it is injecting CO2 into the tank. It's really hard to see, but there is a fine mist of CO2 being dispersed through this tank. If you look right here, my bubble counter, I don't know, is that like 1 bubble per second? It's injecting CO2 through this inline diffuser and then going up the lily pipe and through the tank. I'm also currently running a heater in this tank. This is a 160 watt heater. It's made for 60 centimeter aquariums, and right here is this heater sensor. So in Japan, most heaters come with a sensor like this, and you have a thermostat controller right over here. Right now the heater is turned off, but when it turns on, a light will show. This thing will turn red. But I've got it set at like 23 degrees Celsius, something like that. And if you look at my thermometer, it's right around 23 degrees, something like that. So yeah, that's the temperature I'm keeping this tank at. The tank hasn't been doing all that well because I haven't been keeping up with maintenance over the last 1 month. So I need to do more water changes on this. It is a little bit dirty. You can see some algae here and there some string algae and some, look at that, this moss is covered in dirt. So I've got to do a lot more water changes on this tank. I'm really happy with how this tank is doing. It's almost been a year since setting this up. I set this tank up in March of 2020 and right now it's January of 2021. The tank has definitely gone through some changes, like we changed the sand to a soil substrate and planted in Monte Carlo, so hopefully in a few weeks this will be a full carpet of Monte Carlo. Right now you can see there's still some patches. I'm really excited to watch all these plants grow taller. I think it'll give this tank a whole different look, and I know I say I'm excited all the time, but that's because I truly am. And very soon, maybe next week or in the next 2 weeks, I'll start adding the fish back into this tank, the ember tetras. I might also add a few different types of fish and shrimp into this tank, so let me know in the comments down below what should I add in this tank. Also, I just want to make it clear that it's not really good to add in fish right after putting Amazonia soil. Amazonia soil leaches out a lot of ammonias in the first few weeks, so it can really harm the fish. So do some water changes during that time, and then once the ammonia levels are gone, the nitrites are all back to normal, then you can add the fish in. I almost forgot, I wanted to tell you a little bit more about the plants that I planted in today. So in the back corner over here, I planted in Lagenandra meeboldii green, and it's a plant that's similar to Crypts. It's very hardy and it can grow in low light conditions. The thing that I like is that it doesn't spread crazy like how Crypts does. Crypts will send out runners everywhere and it'll destroy your whole tank, but Lagenandra just stays in one spot. Next to the Areocaulon feather duster, which is this thing right here, I planted in Cyperus helferi, which is a grass-like plant. It'll grow quite tall, so I'm excited to see how that does. Next to that is Rotala rotundifolia ceylon. It's a green color Rotala rotundifolia, and the undersides of its leaves are a little bit purplish. Then beside that, in the right back corner, right here, I planted in Rotala rotundifolia. In Japanese, we call it Rotala indica, but the English name is Rotala rotundifolia, and this one will turn a little bit orangish under highlight, so I would like to have a splash of orange in this corner. And then over here, this is Rotala Nanjenshen, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correct. It's spelt Rotala Nanjenshen. In Japanese, we pronounce it Nanjenshen. If any of you know how to pronounce that, comment down below. And Rotala Nanjenshen is a very thin-leaved plant, and I think it's really cute and nice looking aquatic plant. As always, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Like Spot if you did, hit that thumbs up button, and I will see you guys next time.